The origins and rise of the paleo lifestyle. Let's take a look at the origins of the paleo lifestyle, the pros and the cons from nutrient views, and how it is radically against biblical values. Alright, let's get into it. First, we're going to dive into the origins. What is the paleo lifestyle based on? It is actually based on the discordance hypothesis, which states that the human body is genetically mismatched to the modern lifestyle that emerged with the advent of agriculture. Right out of the gate, you can see how this is unbiblical. The core idea for the paleo lifestyle is that for optimal health, you could eat foods that are more aligned with what our hunter-gatherer ancestors ate during the, get ready for it, the Paleolithic era. The concept is not new and has roots in the works of various researchers. An early proponent was Walter L. Vogeltin, a gastroenterologist who published the book The Stone Age Lifestyle in 1975. He advocated for a carnivore-centric lifestyle based on his observations of the lifestyles of his native people and his evolutionary theories. However, the modern paleo movement was largely ignited by the work of Dr. Lorraine Cordain, a researcher from Colorado State University. His 2002 book, The Paleo Lifestyle, brought the concept into the mainstream. Cordain and his colleagues published numerous academic papers disputing that the foods introduced during the Neolithic Revolution, like grains, legumes, and dairies, were key drivers of modern chronic diseases. Alright, I had to do a personal rant before I continue. These individuals that brought the paleo diet lifestyle into existence do not believe that we are created, but rather came from a microorganism. This is something that I am strongly against because it contradicts itself from the very beginning. If it takes a millennial for something new to evolve, then how did the brain survive without the heart or bloodstream? And vice versa. It makes no sense. There is no logic in this way of thinking, hence why I'm against it. I'm off my rant now. Let us continue. This was the rise to a weight loss tool from 2007 to 2014. During this period, the paleo lifestyle's popularity exploded, driven by several key factors. Number one, the CrossFit community. The paleo lifestyle became the unofficial lifestyle of the expanding CrossFit fitness movement. CrossFit gyms and blogs promoted it as the ideal weight to fuel high-intensity workouts, reduce inflammation, and achieve a lean, athletic physique. This synergy created a powerful grassroots marketing engine. Number two, the internet and social media. The rise of blogs, online forums, and early social media allowed for the rapid spread of information and personal testimonials. Authors like Rob Wolf, a former student of Dr. Cordain, published The Paleo Solutions in 2010. This became a New York Times bestseller and further built the community. In social media, before and after photos with success stories related to weight loss and autoimmune disease reversals went viral. Number three, a simple, compelling narrative. The message was easy to understand. Eat real food, avoid processed junk like grains, dairies, and legumes. For people frustrated with complex calorie counting, which I know I am, or low-fat lifestyles that had been popular previously, this simple, restrictive framework was appealing and often produced rapid initial weight loss, reinforcing its perceived effectiveness. Let's dive deeper into the pros and how taking the food items can help long-term health. The primary benefits of the paleo lifestyle stem from its emphasis on whole, unprocessed foods and the elimination of modern, hyper-palatable processed products. The elimination of processed foods and added sugars. This is conceivably the most significant health benefit of the paleo lifestyle. The reason why it helps. Modern processed foods, refined carbohydrates like white flour, etc., and added sugars are calorie-dense but nutrient-poor. They are engineered to be highly palatable, leading to overconsumption. By eliminating them, individuals naturally reduce their overall caloric intake and significantly lower their intake of sugar. This can lead to improved insulin sensitivity, better blood sugar regulation, and a lower risk of developing metabolic syndrome and type 2 diabetes. Reducing sugar and refined carbohydrates also helps lower triglycerides. This is a type of fat in the blood linked to heart disease. The focus on whole foods naturally increases fullness, which aids in long-term weight management. Let's dive into elimination of grains, especially refined grains. Individuals of the paleo lifestyle argue that grains contain anti-nutrients like phytates, phytic acid, and lectins. They only focus on the negative, not the positive. From a negative standpoint, phytates combine to minerals like iron, zinc, and calcium, potentially reducing their absorption. Certain lectins like wheat germs, agglutinin, also known as WGA, are suggested to contribute to inflammation and increased intestinal permeability, often called leaky gut. For individuals sensitive to these compounds, removing grains may lead to reduced digestive distress, like bloating and gas, and lower systematic inflammation. While these anti-nutrients are reduced by cooking and sprouting, their complete elimination can be beneficial for some. The elimination of dairy. A large percentage of the world's population has a genetically based inability to properly digest lactose, otherwise known as lactose intolerance after infancy. Consuming dairy can cause significant digestive issues for these individuals. Additionally, some people have sensitivity or allergy to milk proteins like casein, which can trigger inflammatory or immune response. For those with lactose intolerance or casein sensitivity, removing dairy can resolve chronic digestive problems, skin issues like acne and eczema, and potentially reduce inflammation. Later, I will explain my story of lactose intolerance and how I discovered that being lactose intolerant is actually your body screaming at you for proper nutrients only found in dairy products. Now let's discuss the cons with the missing nutrients and long-term health effects. The restrictive nature of the paleo lifestyle can lead to deficiencies in key nutrients that are abundant in the excluded food groups. Number 1, calcium deficiency. Dairy is the most concentrated and bioavailable source of calcium in the modern lifestyle. While paleo-approved foods like leafy greens, spinach, kale, broccoli, and sardines contain calcium, one would need to eat very large quantities to match the amount in dairy. Chronic low calcium intake is a primary risk factor for poor bone health. During the formative years, it can prevent reaching peak bone mass. In adulthood and later life, it significantly increases the risk of osteopenia, which is low bone density, and osteoporosis, which is a condition where bones become brittle and fragile. This leads to a higher risk of fractures. This is a major concern, especially for post-menopausal women. Number 2, fiber and a compromised gut microbiome. While the paleo lifestyle includes fiber from fruits and vegetables, it eliminates major sources of specific beneficial fibers, particularly soluble fibers and resistant starch found in abundance in legumes, beans, lentils, and whole grains. These fibers function as prebiotics, food for beneficial gut bacteria. A lifestyle lacking in diverse prebiotic fibers can lead to a less diverse, a less robust gut microbiome. Beneficial bacteria ferment these fibers to produce short-chain fatty acids, otherwise known as CFAs, like butyrate. Butyrate is a primary energy source for the cells lining in the colon and has powerful anti-inflammatory properties. That's right, your farts mean something. A long-term reduction in SCFA production is linked to a higher risk of inflammatory bowel conditions and may negatively impact overall immune function. Let's go into iodine deficiency. The two main sources of iodine in many modern lifestyles are iodized salt and dairy products. The paleo lifestyle often encourages the use of unrefined salts like sea salt or Himalayan pink salt, which are typically poor sources of iodine, and it completely eliminates dairy. Iodine is essential for the production of thyroid hormones. Insufficient iodine intake can lead to hypothyroidism, a condition where the thyroid gland doesn't produce enough hormones. Symptoms include fatigue, weight gain, depression, and cognitive slowing. Wait a minute, I thought that paleo was supposed to be a weight loss diet. Why would it leave out something that would actually potentially give me weight gain? What? Chronic iodine deficiency can cause goiter, which is an enlargement of the thyroid gland. I'm reminded of the Disney cartoon Rapunzel, where one of the ruffians having an enlarged goiter and all he wanted was a woman to love him. This gives you a visual of what a goiter is and what it looks like. Now, let's take a deep dive into the biblical aspects of the paleo lifestyle and why it contradicts biblical values. Beyond the risks of deficiencies in calcium, iodine, and specific fibers, adhering to a strict paleo lifestyle can introduce other significant complications. It is a social and psychological burden. Food is central to cultural community and celebration. Adhering to a highly restrictive lifestyle can make social gatherings, dining out, and family meals stressful and isolating. Constantly having to explain one's lifestyle, refuse offered food, or bring separate meals can create social friction and a sense of being an outsider. The constant vigilance required to avoid non-paleo ingredients like hidden grains, dairy, sugar, vegetable oils, and restaurant foods can create significant anxiety. This hyper-focus on clean versus toxic foods can lead to a stressful and fear-based relationship with eating. Remember in 2 Timothy, where Paul reminds us that Jesus did not give us a spirit of fear, but the spirit of love. The paleo lifestyle can also lead to a risk of fostering disordered eating. The lifestyle's rigid rules and labeling of entire food groups as bad or off limits can be a gateway to disordered eating patterns. For some individuals, this can manifest as orthorexia. This is an unhealthy obsession with eating pure or correct foods to the point that it negatively impacts one's health and social life. The moralistic language often used in paleo communities, cheating, being clean, can ignite guilt and shame around food choices. So how does the paleo lifestyle diverge from biblical values in food? The philosophical foundation of the paleo lifestyle is fundamentally at odds with the way food, agriculture, and sustenance are portrayed in the Holy Bible. The paleo lifestyle is built on the idea that the agricultural revolution was a mistake for human health. In contrast, the Holy Bible presents agriculture and its products as a divine blessing and a cornerstone of civilization, community, and worship. The paleo lifestyle eliminates the very foods that are consistently presented in Scripture as staples of life and symbols of God's provision and blessings. Bread is without a doubt the most significant food in the Bible, referred to as the staff of life. It's a symbol of sustenance, community, and divine provision. An example would be manna in the desert. Leavened bread was part of fellowship meals, and unleavened bread was central to the Passover. Jesus refers to himself as the bread of life. Paleotheology identifies grains as primary source of modern disease. Legumes like lentils and beans were a key source of protein for the people of the ancient Near East. A famous biblical meal is the lentil stew for which Esau sold his birthright in Genesis chapter 25. Daniel and his companions requested a lifestyle of vegetables and water, which would have included legumes because they did not want to defile themselves with the foods that were determined unclean at that time by God, which is in Daniel chapter 1. Paleo prohibits all legumes. The Promised Land is repeatedly described as a land of flowing with milk and honey, which is in Exodus chapter 3, verse 8, the ultimate image of abundance and blessing. Abraham served milk and curds, which is a form of cheese and or yogurt, to his angelic visitors in Genesis chapter 18, verse 8. The paleo lifestyle strictly forbids dairy, viewing it as unnatural food for the adult humans. The core of the paleo discordance hypothesis is that farming was a negative turning point. The Bible represents the opposite view. Agriculture as a blessing. The ability to cultivate the land, sow seeds, and reap a harvest is depicted as a sign of peace, stability, and God's favor. The seasonal rhythm of planting and harvesting was central to the Israelite festival calendar. The prophet Isaiah uses the image of turning weapons into farming tools. They shall beat their swords into plowshares. Isaiah chapter 2, verse 4, as the ultimate vision of peace and prosperity. The paleo philosophy, this exact moment, the shift of agriculture is seen as the origin of a mismatch between our genes and our lifestyle, leading to a chronic disease. It views the hunter-gatherer lifestyle as superior and the agricultural one as a deviation. The philosophy of restriction versus gratitude. The Bible promotes a philosophy of receiving God's creation with gratitude, whereas a paleo lifestyle is founded on a philosophy of strict elimination and fear of certain foods. A recurring theme in the Holy Bible is that all food is a gift from God, intended to be received with thankfulness and used to honor Him. The Apostle Paul addresses food restrictions directly in the New Testament. For everything God created is good, and nothing is to be rejected if it is received with thanksgiving, because it is consecrated by the word of God in prayer. This is found in 1 Timothy chapter 4, verses 4 through 5. Now I'm going to caveat that Paul is specifically speaking of food that was created by the Creator himself, not man-made items like processed foods, which have been proven time and time again that they are detrimental to our health. The paleo approach labels entire categories of God's creation, grains, legumes, as inherently harmful or toxic. This mindset of fear and restriction stands in direct contrast to the biblical principles of receiving the bounty of the earth with thanks. It creates a hierarchy where some natural foods are good and others are bad. This is a foreign concept of biblical food theology. In conclusion, while the paleo lifestyle focuses on eliminating modern processed foods, which align with general wisdom, its core tenets create a framework that is difficult to reconcile with biblical tradition. It rejects the very foods the Holy Bible celebrates as blessings, condemns the agricultural process the Bible views as a gift, and promotes a philosophy of restriction that is at odds with the biblical principle of gratitude for all of creation. Let me bring up how I discovered that being lactose intolerant is actually my body screaming for those particular nutrients. I have been drinking 2% milk for as long as I can remember. My body started acting funny, so I went almond milk because I believed what I was told, that it was healthier for me. Newsflash. FDA, USDA, American Heart Association, all other government agencies and pharmaceutical companies lied. I was speaking with my cousin who went all the way to third-year residency and medical school, but he got out because he saw the hypocrisy of it all. I explained my lactose intolerance to him, and he asked me how long I was drinking 2% milk or any other milk that was not whole. I told him ever since I was young, which is true. He explained to me I was lactose intolerant because my body was telling me I needed whole milk. He asked me to drink whole milk for 2 weeks and see if I saw a difference. Guess what? I did. I am no longer lactose intolerant. I now listen to my body if I feel like I am missing something. If agencies or doctors try to tell me I need to stop something, I'm going to ask myself, what are they not telling me, and start doing my own research. This is how you beat the system. We do not allow them to tell us how to think or what to do, but rather research the item and hold them accountable. And of course, the biggest one is prayer and just bringing it back to God and trusting that He's going to guide us where we need to go, and knowing that He is the ultimate answer, not other people. Thank you for joining me and diving into the origins of the paleo diet and how it contradicts biblical values. You can visit me on my cooking channel, Cooking with Reese. I will show you how I make easy and quick meals using non-GMO products. The link is in the description below. Until next time, bye.